Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our producer, Jeff Durall. We're visiting at the Hayes Fire Department in one of the bays, thanks to the movement of the truck out of the bay, with the chief of the Hayes Fire Department, Gary Brown. And Gary, we've really had a veteran who has said goodbye to the Hayes Fire Department after 38 and 39 years and 7 months, he said. And that's Wendy Shoemaker.
39 years and 7 months of service to the city. And, you know, you don't see that type of service in, too much anymore. And it's going to be a big change for the fire department for Wendy to be leaving.
You say that Wendy's job now is a technical job. Talk a little about that, Gary.
Well, the deputy fire chief has all the same authority as a fire chief. It's really a partnership, and it's a very special partnership. And mostly you look to complement each other's strengths, and in other words, where I'm weak, he's strong, type relationship. So it's been very successful. I've been here for 12 years, and Wendy's been the deputy fire chief for 10 of those 12 years, so it's a real partnership that I'm going to miss very much. But a lot of what he does relates to fire code enforcement, and in a lot of fire departments, that's a difficult thing. Getting people to comply with the fire code, sometimes that can be, if people perceive that as being forced by government to do something, we tend to look at it as we're their fire safety consultants, just like their insurance company or whatever. And we're trying to get people to comply with fire code requirements because they understand why they're important and how it's important for their business. And Wendy does an excellent job with that. He just has the people skills to make that kind of work friendly versus adversarial. And quite frankly, in the 10 years he's been here, I think we've only had to ask the city attorney to help us one time. And we've only, and as part of that process, we actually had to issue a formal order to somebody to comply one time. We do about 1,000 fire inspections a year between the captains and lieutenants, and that's one of the things that the deputy fire chief oversees. And out of 10 years of that activity, one time we've really had to go to the enforcement process. So,
well, Gary, I can see fire code enforcement as something that protects the business, protects people who shop businesses, protects other businesses around, and protects the safety of the firefighters as well. A lot of advantages to that.
Well, sure, but when you're trying to run a business and you've got a lot of people telling you what you need to be doing, it's important to be friendly doing the fire code work as well. And so much of what a deputy fire chief does is done quietly, it's done behind the scenes, and the folks here at the Hayes Fire Department and the people here in the city of Hayes, I don't think they're ever going to truly know how much Wendy Shoemaker has done for this city and this fire department and the firefighters in this fire department in his, certainly in his time as deputy fire chief, but in his whole career with the city. Like I said, people just aren't going to know how much he's really done to help this fire department. And the other thing too is how much he's really done to help me. Sometimes it's important to have that check on your judgment, and having somebody like Wendy to work with, very, very valuable.
Fire Chief Gary Brown from the Hayes Fire Department. Well, let's meet the new Deputy Fire Chief next. Ryan Hagans after this from Community Connection. Our Community Connection from Eagle Community Television involves area events and community people that we hope you'll meet including from the President's Office at Fort Hays State University, Dr. Mirta Martin.
Well, thank you so very much for being here, and I look forward to welcoming you each month as we share with our community all the wonderful new beginnings that are taking place at Fort Hays State University.
Fort Hays State University and others from our Community Connection. Thanks for watching Eagle Community Television. And we're back at the Hays Fire Department, one of the bays, with the Deputy Chief of the Hays Fire Department, newly installed, Ryan Hagans. Ryan, thanks for sitting down with us to take over for Wendy. Maybe some thoughts about Wendy. You two kind of transitioned for about a month before you actually took over as role as Deputy Chief.
Yeah, I spent the last month working with Deputy Chief Shoemaker, kind of showing me what all he's done and all the coordination that takes place for this position.
And you're still ready to go with the job after
well,
all of that.
I told him I'll have him on speed dial in case I have any questions.
That's a good idea. Fire Prevention Week this year, October 5th through the 11th, an annual observance. Ryan, I know you want to talk about that, and I want you to give us some tips for homeowners during Fire Prevention Week. What do we need to know and do?
Okay, best thing you could do is make sure you have a working smoke alarm in your house. At a bare minimum, one on every floor. We'd like to have one near or in the sleeping quarters on every floor. That would be the best.
You have indicated to us that having a working smoke alarm cuts the risk of dying in a fire in half.
Yes.
Well worth the money then.
Yeah, it's a low cost investment in your personal safety.
So once again, where should they be placed, Ryan?
One on every floor, preferably outside your sleeping areas. You know, if you want to put them inside the bedrooms, that's great. If you sleep with your doors closed, it's best to have one in the bedroom and outside as well. But if you don't, you know, it's just outside the sleeping areas.
Now, what about types of smoke alarms? What should we be looking for if we're either replacing an older one, and by the way, how often should they be replaced in your estimation?
Most generally, it's one of those where you get what you pay for. To get a good quality one, you're probably going to spend about $20, $25. We recommend you change them at least every 10 years. Closer to 7 is better, but at a minimum every 10.
And battery life, what about that?
A lot of these new ones come with a 10-year lithium battery. You know, it's one of those things there. Yeah, they say they're good for 10 years, but you know, it's hard to say if they're actually going to last that long. It's still best that when with time change, change your clock, change your batteries.
Do most of them now have an alert if the battery gets weak that it'll beep until you replace it?
If you hear it just chirping, just like a beep beep or something like that, you can take the detector off the wall or whatever, read the back of it, and it'll tell you, what it's doing.
And the Hays Fire Department has a service available to those who can't deal with either replacement of the batteries or the proper location of the detectors, don't you?
Correct. If you went and purchased your own and need some help installing them or just some advice on where to put them, give us a call. We'd love to come out and help you.
Understand you were able to go to a state meeting that provided some detectors, right, Ryan?
Right. We received a grant through the Kansas State Fire Marshal's Office. We received some detectors that we could give out for people who qualify, kind of on a fixed income or a low income. And we'll come out, just give us a call, we'll come out and install one for you.
All right, so call the Hays Fire Department if you're in need of a smoke detector and don't have one or can't afford one.
Correct.
Because obviously they're important to have. Talk, if you would, about then carbon monoxide detectors. Those have become more prominent over the years, right?
Right. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas. With having a working carbon monoxide alarm in your house, that will alert you to that hazard. Once again, there's many different types of them. If you only have one in your house, because the carbon monoxide it floats around with air movement and everything, so it'll detect it throughout the house.
And where should those be placed, Ryan?
Once again, if you can have one on every floor, would be more than enough.
Now, carbon monoxide, odorless, colorless, you can't tell that it's there. What produces carbon monoxide in the home?
It is incomplete burning of like natural gas or improper burning.
So any kind of a natural gas appliance could be prone to perhaps producing carbon monoxide. And we wouldn't be aware of it unless we have those detectors. So very important to have them on each floor of the house.
Yes.
During Fire Prevention Week then, a lot of things happen. I know one of those is the Hays Fire Department offers tours and information not only in the fire station itself, but outside in the community.
Correct. We'll go to the elementary schools with our mobile fire safety house and give a talk to the younger kids. You know, it shows them how they can crawl under smoke and escape out windows, and the importance of having a meeting place outside the home.
That's something I'm glad you mentioned. Many years ago, there used to be a designation on the windows where you would put for children, for example, or bedroom facilities, sleeping facilities and such. Is that still applicable?
Actually, no. The fire service has kind of gotten away from that because what we ran into there was these stickers were put on by previous homeowners. The new one comes in, they don't use it as a bedroom or something along those lines there.
Fire drills for families, important, Ryan?
Yes. You want to have 2 ways out and practice them, and have a meeting place. Make sure you know where your cell phone is if you're leaving your house in a hurry, and get everybody routed up and go to a neighbor's house and call 911 if you don't have your cell phone. The best thing you can do is get your family and get outside.
2 exits and have a central meeting place for all family members to come to. And I know something that the chief had indicated to us in years past is do some drills, do some homeowner drills in case of a problem of a fire at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, most people are creatures of habit. You come in and out of your house through the front door. Well, what if the fire is by your front door? You want to be able to practice that. Well, I'll just go out the back door. And it's something simple that most people don't, when they're in a hurry and panicking, aren't going to really think about.
Talk, if you would, about safety in the home itself, about fireplaces, space heaters, those kinds of things which sometimes we tend to take for granted.
All right. With fireplace, make sure you have a yearly, someone come out and check your chimney yearly and try and keep all that stuff good and clean. Space heaters, usually you want them 3 to 5 feet from any fabric, drapes, your cloth type furniture. Get the ones that if they're tipped over, automatically shut off. And a lot of their cords, make sure that the power cord itself are in good shape.
And keep them from being under mats and such as that because of the wear factor involved. And just some general tips on fire safety. And talk a bit about businesses and fire prevention tips.
With businesses, you want to keep your aisleways clean so we don't cause any trip hazards for your customers and your employees. With our fire code enforcement program, that's kind of what we look for, is to keep the occupants and the customers safe. Keep things away from breaker boxes and don't stack things up around all the water heaters.
Just some tips in general, and any further information you can call the Hays Fire Department.
Exactly.
Ryan, thanks very much, and welcome as the new Deputy Chief of the Hays Fire Department, Ryan Hagans. He's our Community Connection. Thanks for watching.